What's up guys, LiftingNerdBro here. One of the most common questions I get from new players is where can I buy or get gear for my character? Because of that, I decided to make this video to show you where lots of Path of Exile players go when they want to buy a gear upgrade and how they do it. The first thing you need to do is open up your web browser. You're then going to type in poe.xyz.is. This will take you to this website. On this website you'll be able to browse and search for gear for your specific needs. All of these options may seem a little daunting at first, but I will explain to you what they mean, so don't worry. The first thing you want to make sure of when searching for an item is that you search for items that are for sale in the league you're playing in. And as you can see, my default league and the league that I'm playing in is the Beyond League, so I want to search for items in the Beyond League. If you want to search for items in the Standard League, you simply press this icon and choose Standard League. The next thing you need to choose is what kind of item you're searching for. For instance, let's say you are searching for a wand with spell and fire damage. Click the any icon and type in wand or press the wand suggestion that comes up. If you're searching for a specific type of wand, you can choose it by selecting it here from the base choices. In our case, we don't care about any specific wand, so we're going to ignore that. Down here you can search for a specific name of an item. This feature is mostly used if you're searching for a unique item, skill gem or map. Since we aren't looking for a specific item, we're just going to leave this blank. In the offense and defense sections you have the choices of selecting specific minimum or maximum damage, crit or attack speed rolls, as well as armor, evasion, shield and block chains. If you, for instance, want the wand to minimally have at least 6 critical strike chance, this is where you type it. And the same goes for a shield. If you want it to have at least 30% block chance, this is where you type it. Again, for our situation, we don't care about that, so we're going to leave those fields blank as well. In this section you can choose how many sockets, links and what kind of colors you want on your item. For our wand, we don't want any specific amount of colors or sockets on a wand, so we're going to leave that blank as well. The requirement section here can be useful at times. Let's say that our character is only level 54. That of course means that we won't be interested in items that would require us to be higher level to be able to use them. For that reason, we're going to type in 54 as a maximum level requirement for our item. And the same of course goes for strength, intelligence and dexterity requirements. Make sure you have the required stats to be able to use them or equip them. We now get to the part I personally use the most, and I think this will be the part that you use the most as well, the mods section. We now have to choose which affixes we want for the item we're going to search for. In the mods section we have the option of searching for both implicit values as well as explicit values. And before we do that, let me quickly explain to you what those are and what those mean. The implicit values of an item is the affix that belongs to that specific item type. To visualize this, take a look at this Demon's Horn wand in the upper left corner. The 15 to 18% spell damage this wand has on it is its implicit value. This affix belongs to this specific type of wand. An item can only have one implicit value. If you aren't searching for a specific implicit value or a specific item, you can simply leave this blank. The explicit value is all the other stats beside the implicit values. And let me show you an example. This wand you now see in the top left corner has the implicit value of 17% increased spell damage. All the other affixes are explicit values. The thing you need to remember about implicit and explicit values is that implicit values are determined by the specific type of item, while the explicit values can be everything else as long as the item is able to roll that kind of affix. For instance, you cannot choose increased spell damage on an axe as an explicit or implicit value, simply because an axe is not able to have that kind of affix on it. Since we don't care about if our wand has spell damage on its implicit mod, we are instead going to choose spell damage as an explicit mod. We do that by pressing the bar here and either finding or typing in spell damage and then choosing the increased spell damage percentage. To the right, we can now set a minimum and maximum of spell damage we want on the item we're searching for. Since we want the spell damage roll to be as high as possible, we are not going to set a maximum, but we want at least 40% increased spell damage. So we're going to type 40 here. We also want a percentage to increased fire damage on our wand. This is also an explicit mod, so we're going to press the Add Mod button here, and we can now search for increased fire damage and select it in the list of mods. For this mod we want at least 10%. If we wanted to have any more specific affixes on our wand, we would simply press the Add Mod button again and select a new explicit value. The last section you want to consider changing or adding something to is the MISC section. In the MISC section, the most important settings is the options of choosing quality and gem and map levels. At least that's the ones you'll be using the most. Setting a minimum quality can be useful if you're searching for a skill gem where you need it to have at least some amount of quality on it. And when reaching late game, you will sometimes find yourself searching for maps that are within a certain level range. The last two options we're going to select is the online only and the buyout only settings. By clicking and activating these, you are ensured that the person you want to trade with is online right now and that he has set a specific buyout price for the item you want to buy. You don't have to use the buyout only setting, but if you are a new player, it is a lot easier trading this way, as you won't have to haggle back and forth with the seller since the price is already stated. The last thing you can decide to select if you want to is the maximum price you're willing to pay for the item. Let's say that you don't want to pay more than 2 Chaos Orbs for this wand. To make sure items sold for more than 2 Chaos Orbs won't show up on the list when we do our search, you simply type 2 and select Chaos Orbs here. Any item at or below 2 Chaos Orbs will now be shown when you hit the search button. Anything above that price won't. You're now ready to search for your wand. Finally! Hit the search button and let's see what comes up. As you can see, we are now getting a list of items for sale that meet the requirements of the item that we want. To get the wand with the highest amount of spell damage within the price range, you can click the spell damage affix here, and it will sort the wands and place the one with the highest amount of spell damage on top of the list of potential items we want. This goes for other affixes as well. When you have found the item you want, you will have to whisper the player in-game. The name of the player you need to whisper can be seen here. The easiest way is to simply select this player's name, right-click or Ctrl-C to copy and then paste his name or her name in the game and then whisper him. Before you whisper the player, you should always click the Verify button here. This will tell you if the item is still for sale or if it has just been sold. If it says Verified, you're good to go, and you can whisper the player for a trade. If it says sold, you'll have to find another item. If you're getting a lot of items on your list, you can hit the show search form button and go back and increase the affix values and minimum requirements to sort away some of the lesser items. And this is basically how it works, guys. I know this seems like a lot of work, and it probably will feel like that the first few times you do a search for an item, but as soon as you get used to it, it won't take more than 30 seconds to make a search for an item. I constantly use this website, and once you get used to it, you probably will as well. The only downside to this way of trading I can think of is when you whisper people and they are AFK. Some people can go AFK for hours, and that of course makes trading a little hard, even though you're able to whisper them and the item is verified. This is just something we will have to live with though. I hope this was useful, guys. Thank you for watching, and bros, do you even nerd?